Shalom, and welcome back to the No Channel. This is Bernadette Johnson. I'm also known as Keziah or Kizzy, and today I'm coming back to you with a video with a book commentary. Now, it's been a while since I did a book commentary, but this is on a book titled A Taste of Power, A Black Woman's Story. And this book is the biography of a female member of the Black Panther Party. She was a former female member of the Black Panther Party. Her name is Elaine Brown. And she actually came to be the Black Panther Party leader while Huey Newton was, which of course is the founder of the Black Panther Party. She served as the party leader during his exile in Cuba. So this is the story. This is her biography. She wrote a biography. And I want to say, if you can see the title in my video, A Taste of Power, A Black Woman's Story, Sexism within the Black Struggle. Now, the second part with the sexism, this isn't the title of her biography, of course. This is what I added on because in her story, it addresses the sexism that existed within the Black struggle, which I will address that later in this video. But anyway, this is the story about the life of Elaine Brown and her time in the Black Panther Party. The story starts off with her, her life, her childhood. She grew up in North Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And then she, later on in her adulthood, she moved to Los Angeles. And that's when she joined the Black Panther Party, was when she moved to Los Angeles. But she grew up very poor in one of the ghettos of North Philadelphia. And she was raised by a single mother. Her father didn't really own her. Her father came from a very prominent family, but he didn't really own her. However, her mother did, best as she could with her. And she saw that her daughter, Elaine, was musically talented. She saw that she was talented. So she did all she could to put her in good school. So Elaine would have, opportunities when she got up, because she didn't want her daughter to come up hard like the way she did. But being put in these good schools put her in close proximity to white children. And she saw how much better the white children lived than she did. Of course, she grew up poor in a dirty ghetto with apartment of roaches and things like that. And she would go to these white children, her white classmates' home, and they lived in this luxurious homes, had everything, the best things that money could buy. And she desired this type of life. And she would, love to go to her white classmates' home to escape, the ugliness and the harshness of her life in the ghetto. So she even, I try not to give away too much in this commentary, because of course I want you to read it. So I don't want to, have too many spoilers in here. So I'll try and not to give too much away. But anyway, she desired to be white, of course, when she saw how the white children live and how white people live. And she tried to act white and talk white and this and that. So that's, of course, some of, her childhood. She didn't grow up with money, as you just heard. However, even though for most of her childhood and even some of her adulthood, she grew up wanting to be white and immersed herself into white culture. Excuse me. But here's the irony. She learned the importance of her quote-unquote Black identity from one of her white lovers. Well, her white lover. I think she only just had one. No, she probably had more than one. She probably had more than one. Yes, she was taught the importance of her Black identity by one of her white lovers. So that's the irony of it. And so it wasn't until after she spent some time in LA that she got connected with the Black Panther Party. And that's when she made a complete 180, where she was, more into white, And then she came pro-black. And of course, to be a member of the Black Panther Party, you have to be pro-black. So it's remarkable how she went from one extreme to the other. So this was a very, very interesting read. And of course, she goes into how she ascended into, a more prominent position into the Black Panther Party, and of course how the party had to deal with the brutality of the LAPD, the Los Angeles Police, and how the party was targeted, and how the police and even the government, how the Black Panther Party, was being undermined on every turn. And they did some great things for their community, because the main thing was they had the People's Free Food Program, where they fed the poor people in the poor neighborhoods, predominantly black neighborhoods. So they did some good things for the people. And what made and the bad thing about it, that the Black Panther, some of the members were targeted and unalived sometimes by their own people. And I believe the movie Panther, it illustrated that to some degree. And of course, it doesn't take much for our people to sell out. So that was a sad part. It was sad to learn that some of them were actually unalived by their own. And it goes on to where she talks about how she was intimately involved with some of the leaders, some of the prominent leaders of the Black Panther Party. Two of them being Huey Newton. She was intimately involved with him, and she was also intimately involved with Eldridge Cleaver. Which Eldridge Cleaver, he didn't remain a Black Panther Party member. He and Huey Newton, their ideals, they clashed. So he didn't remain a Black Panther Party member, because of that. And of course, she does not hide her own, indiscretions, because she doesn't excuse her own indiscretions. So she did things that she wasn't proud of, and she was honest enough to admit it and own up to it. But as far as the men that she was involved with, of course she was involved with other men besides Eldridge Cleaver and Huey Newton. And as far as Eldridge Cleaver, I just have to say it, he was not a good person. I mean, she witnessed him striking his wife, Kathleen. I mean, he just was not. He wasn't a good person. I can't really find too many redeeming qualities about him. So that's all I have to say about him. So I'll just let you read, you all read the book. And as far as Huey Newton was very complex. He was a complex character. And I'm thinking, not justifying some of his behavior, but he was probably damaged due to the long length of time that he was in solitary confinement. I haven't read his book nor Eldridge Cleaver's book, but from what was said about what he shared with Elaine about his experience in prison, that he was in solitary confinement. It was a certain kind of confinement called a soul breaker. And it was, I guess it was very torturous. So maybe his extremely volatile behavior stemmed from the trauma that he underwent in prison. Because I'll just leave it at that about Huey Newton. You can just read the book and see for yourself. And something else that was very disturbing that was in the book, I won't go into too many details, but some of the party leaders had, members whipped at at a perceived infraction, what they deemed as the violation of the rules. They actually had other party members whipped. And there was even a case where Huey Newton ordered the whipping of another party leader. I won't name that other leader. And years ago, I read this about Huey Newton ordering the whipping of another party leader, but I was just thinking at the time, I was just thinking, oh, that was just a hit piece, because I think I probably read it in an article or Wikipedia or something. And I didn't fully believe it because I was thinking, oh, they just trying to make Huey Newton look bad. They was trying to put him in a bad light, but this was someone one of his closest confidants saying this about him. So now I'm inclined to believe that this is actually what happened. And also she herself, was treated brutally in certain, while she was a member of the Black Panther Party. And now this is where I want to discuss just a little bit about the sexism within the Black struggle. I want to discuss the sexism within the Black struggle in a separate video. I don't want my commentary on this book to be lost on the whole sexism within the Black struggle. But since she addresses it, I do want to discuss it some. But anyway, Elaine Brown talks about how the female members were treated by the male members of the Black Panther Party. So it's like the men, they didn't see a problem with oppressing the Black women. So it was more about equality for them, not so much as women, because if that was the case, they would not have treated the women the way that they did. They expected the women to be, subservient to them. And then when Huey Newton put Elaine Brown in charge of the Black Panther Party, when he went into exile into Cuba, the male members of the Black Panther Party, they highly resented that. But I believe Huey Newton was being, I think he did this on purpose, because I'm thinking, now this is me now, I'm thinking that if he had put a man in charge of the party, that man could have possibly taken the party away from him. But he know that the party would only follow a woman for so much. So he put a woman in charge. So when, this just occurred to me. A lot of times women can be, since it's a woman, a lot of times she would tend to be more loyal to the man. Whereas another man would try to, he'll start feeling himself and he'll say, oh, this is my party. So I think that was pretty smart on Huey Newton's part to put a woman in charge until he came back. I got to give him credit for that. But anyway, that's just me now. That's just me. I could be wrong. But anyway, as I said, that Elaine Brown talked about the oppression that the women had to deal with within their own party. And it's just sort of sad that this happened, where the Black women not only had to deal with the racism by society, but they also had to deal with sexism practiced by their own men. And a lot of times you have to, really, far as like when a man is pro-Black, you have to see whether is he really pro-Black or is he pro-Black man. So that's what you really have to make sure what this, so-called pro-Black man is about. But anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. But this is just a little book commentary that I did on the biography of Elaine Brown, titled A Taste of Power, A Black Woman's Story. And I recommend that you check it out. It could be available. You can check your local library. And it's available on Amazon, and it should be available on some other book websites as well. But it's a very interesting read. So that's my commentary on the my most recent read. And I hopefully you got something out of it. And I thank you for watching and thank you for listening. And please, if you haven't already, like and share and subscribe. Shalom. Be blessed.